And the co-chairpersons of the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee on the election of members to the East African Legislative Assembly will this afternoon table the committee's report in both houses for debate and adoption. KTN News has established that two candidates, one from Jubilee Party and another from the opposition National Super Alliance, were disqualified after they were found to be still serving as public officers. At the same time, Leader of Majority in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, is expected to move a procedural motion this afternoon seeking to have Parliament hold a sitting on Thursday morning next week for the purpose of conducting the election of members to the Regional Assembly. Our senior parliamentary affairs reporter Patrick Monao joins us from Parliament with the latest. Patrick, as we await for this afternoon's event, that is the tabling of that report, what more can you tell us about this whole process that really has taken so long?
Thank you, Betty. What is happening now is that both co-chairpersons of in the National Assembly and in the Senate are just putting up the last finishes to that particular report. I've just had at least a brief encounter with the co-chair in the National Assembly, that is Kato Ole Metito, who is also trying to seek his counterpart in the Senate, that is Makueni Senator Mutula Jr., at least to come and present that report to the Senate this afternoon when it resumes its sittings at 2:30. Apparently, in the Senate, the members of the five team from the Senate that were part of this particular Joint Select Committee, four of them have gone to Dar es Salaam to attend the IALA Games, which are ongoing in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And so it's only Senator Mutula who is around and is the one who is expected to table that report in the Senate this afternoon. But in the National Assembly, we have Kato Ole Metito, who is present, who co-chair that particular committee. He will be the one who will be tabling that report this afternoon. But besides that, we've seen that the Leader of Majority, Aden Duale, will be moving a procedural motion to have the House sit in the morning Thursday next week, or that is December 14th, purposely to elect members to this regional parliament. Kenya has dragged its feet. These members were to be in that parliament by June 4th this year, but the process dragged. We saw the 11th parliament could not elect, they could not agree on the numbers of members whom MPs will vote for, because that time we saw the opposition code then did indicate that they were not yielding to increase the number of their members to 12 from the 6 they had given on that list to allow members elect. That time we saw Jubilee had presented a list of 15, out of which 5 were to be elected. But CORD stuck to its guns and said it's only the 6 who had been presented. Those are the ones that MPs were supposed to vote for. But this time around with the 11th Parliament, we've seen also the political dynamics have changed. We now have NASA, but now this time around, NASA, which is composed of the former CORD members of Parliament, will be supposed to elect 4 members to that regional parliament, while Jubilee will elect 5. And out of this list, in the Jubilee list of 5, they are supposed to have 3 must be men and 2 will be women. While on the NASA side, out of the 4, we expect NASA to elect 3 men and 1 must be at least a woman. Also, when it comes to this election, members of Parliament will also ensure that it observes the election, those electors to the regional Parliament comply with regional balance. We also have other dynamics like special interest groups. We expect maybe to have at least people with disabilities being elected to that regional Parliament, and or maybe the youth. So those are some of the parameters that members will be looking at as they go through that particular process. But this afternoon, once the report will be tabled, members will have an opportunity to debate it and either adopt and or reject that particular report. So this afternoon, that will be the main business in Parliament this afternoon, both houses. And we expect also, as it was indicated, that 2 members were ejected from this particular list, so their names will not be on the ballot papers. The specific members will be known once that report is tabled in the House. When it now becomes officially available to members, that's when we'll be able to know who these two members are who were struck off that ballot. But as it were now, Betty, what is happening is that I've just walked around and seen those members, the successful members who participated, the 26 will be on the ballot paper. They are still carrying on with the lobbying. It's still they are meeting various members, both in the National Assembly and the Senate, trying to convince them to vote to elect them into that regional parliament. That is what is happening. The canvassing is still ongoing, and they'll still have until that morning of until October next week, Wednesday, that to lobby around and convince members to be voted into that regional parliament. So that is what is happening now here, Betty.
Before I let you go, do we know the kind of agenda that is awaiting, these members, once the voting has been done? Just looking forward into this process. Like I mentioned, really, there has been a delay, really, that has also created some bile between the countries in the region. So what agenda are we looking at moving forward after everything now is in place and settled?
There were some pending matters at the East African Legislative Assembly. In June, we saw there was that idea where they're also discussing matters to do with the plastic menace in the region. And we saw like the countries like Rwanda, they have already put in laws in place to ban plastics. We've seen Kenya has taken cue. They are now also introducing that idea to ban plastics. Tanzania had given the plastic manufacturers until August to comply and ensure that there's no more manufacturing of, use of plastic bags in that country. So it is something that that particular idea to ban plastic is something that has attracted regional attention, and also the matter was before the regional assembly. So we expect these members to come, once they get to the House, then they'll be able to look into these particular matters and see that these other countries in the region that have not complied, like maybe say like South Sudan and probably also Uganda, they comply with this particular law to ensure that Kenya, the region pursues environment friendly legislations. Also, we have this idea to do with these regional integration. This idea to have to come up with a common market is something that there are certain lacunas in those laws, pieces of legislation, which need to be made to be spruced up to ensure that there is a smooth operation of trade across in the regional bloc. There's also that idea to do with the political federation. It was something that was mooted way back in 2010, but it's not come to fruition because of the pull and push factors. Also we get to know that the laws that operate in the region are different. Like for the case of the EALA members, in Kenyan case, we have at least an independent. One can be elected as an independent in parliament, but in the other regional, in other member states, it's only political parties, and that's why this law informs in the EALA. The law says that parties are the ones that will be electing members to that regional parliament. That's why we saw the independent candidates who attempted it in Kenya here had a rough time because they could not even get like the signatures of 1,000 members to make them to make their candidature eligible to pass to this second stage, where now members of parliament in both National Assembly and Senate will be electing those to join EALA. So it is an intricate matter. But again, besides that, maybe before I wind up, Betty, another matter that we will be discussing in the National Assembly and both Senate this afternoon is to do with the composition of committees. We know very well that they had the Committee on House Rules and Procedure met yesterday. They were looking at those standing orders to change them to ensure that membership is increased, especially those departmental committees. The membership increases from 17 to 19 because initially in the 11th Parliament, the membership at the departmental committees stood at 29, but the standing orders had reviewed so that in the 12th Parliament they were to be 17, and for the Select Committee the membership was to reduce to from 20. Was to go to 20. Was to reduce to 20 from the initially in the 11th Parliament where it stood at 27 to 17. So those are the things that the minority leader in the National Assembly, John Mbadi, has been looking at, and they were agreed with the leader of majority in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, that those standing orders need to be changed to allow more members room to be members of these particular committees, because it is a provision that as a member of Parliament you must participate in the committees. Now that we have a presidential system where most of the work is done through committees, and there were complaints in the past that some members it appeared that they had been given preferential treatment where they were you could find there were members in either more than maybe 2 or 3 committees, and while their counterparts were only members, had maybe a membership in one committee. So these particular increments will ensure that at least the 343 MPs get at least a chance to serve in 2 committees, one departmental committee and another one a select committee. In the Senate, it's not a very big deal because the numbers are few, 67, and we've seen that in the Senate, only 9 members constitute a committee. And in fact, in the Senate, what has happened is that, unlike the National Assembly, where many committees are around, in the Senate, they tend to merge at least 2 or 3 committees into one. So that is the scenario that is obtaining, and we've seen that even in the National Assembly, they are grappling with the issue of numbers because 29 is so huge a number to the National Assembly. And in case when we had joint sittings, you could find that now you are dealing with about 58 members to discuss a certain issue. And in such a crowd, it really became very difficult to control. And at times, you could find that partisan interests could take center stage, and members could not really adequately brainstorm over issues of national importance. So I think that is what informed this idea that the membership in those committees were to be reduced, at least to be scaled down to 17. But then it appears, okay, even as it was scaled down, it appeared some members might miss out of this particular committee. So it's an attempt, as according to the Deputy Minority Leader John Mbadi, what he says is that it's to even out and ensure that members feel accommodated in the committees and they can participate and give their best in the committees they feel that they are qualified and professionally qualified into it. Betty?
Thank you very much for that detailed analysis, and really what we're going to be looking forward